Hello and good morning. My name is Christine Nangayan and I am the Spiritual Shrink. This is the beginning of a video series that I would like to do to talk to people about spirituality. I've noticed in my practice as a psychiatrist, and I can tell you all about my credentialing and get into the details of my background, but I've noticed that there's quite a lack of spirituality in modern medicine today. And so many of the patients that I see come in with issues like chronic dissatisfaction, not being fulfilled, not finding life rewarding, when in essence they really should. They're making excellent money, they're in good careers that they went to school for, they're married, they have children, but something seems to be missing and they're not quite sure what it is. And certainly sometimes there's genuine depression and anxiety and insomnia, and medication is needed to sort of adjust and balance where people are at. But many of the times it's deeper than that. And so I have decided to start a video series to really begin to open up people to the idea of paying attention to that aspect of them, that spiritual aspect of them. And let me first start by saying this is not meant to be a substitution for psychiatric treatment. If you are in need of seeing a psychiatrist, if you are in need of any mental health treater or clinician, you really should call someone locally and make an appointment and be evaluated if you're concerned that something is happening on a level that's interfering with your functioning, that's sort of above and beyond a self-help, motivator. Um, but if you are stable in this regard and you are functioning, you're working, you're socially, occupied in a healthy way, but you still find yourself wondering about elements of life that for whatever reason you're just not satisfied with, this may be a series for you, and I'm happy to talk to you in this regard. As I go and develop this, I'm certainly going to add tapes on depression and anxiety and insomnia and some of the primary things that I see as well. Again, not meant to be a substitution for psychiatric treatment, but something that I can speak to in a general way for most patients. I'm currently licensed in Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York State. So if you are patients in any of these three states, if you reside in any of these three states, I can see you as a psychiatrist through my telepsychiatry website. We can set something up either locally in one of my two offices in Manhattan or in Southern Connecticut, Fairfield County, or we can even set something up via Skype, since I'm starting this website of telepsychiatry, and it's been very successful, surprisingly successful so far. I'll refer to that later, but otherwise, you will be able to enjoy my series completely free. I have a website that I can direct you to if you want any further, readings or developments, but this is designed to just start to open people up to these ideas. I didn't want to delay this any further, so today is going to be the first day we're going to get started. And I think the best place to start is to actually speak about what spirituality is. When people think about spirituality, and when I ask patients about spirituality, the first thing they say is, "Oh, I'm religious," or "Oh, I'm not religious." And I always say that's great either way. But this is not about religiosity. It's most of the time, it can parallel or work in tandem with religiosity, of course. And so I tell patients it's more about not necessarily espousing a specific religion. You can be Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish, Christian. Spirituality transcends every religion. It's more about what overarching beliefs you have about life and what you believe about life. If it's, this is Sebastian, he's going to pop up here and there for these videos, so hopefully you're okay with kitties. So it's more about how you see yourself in the bigger scheme of things, and believing in something outside of yourself. So there may be a universal power or spirit or entity or higher power that sort of binds us all. Many people call this power or this entity God. I myself am religious. I do believe in God, not in a conventional way, and we will talk about that at some point. Certainly, definitely more of a metaphysical belief system. But certainly, the typical Judeo-Christian God, many people, believe in, and I grew up believing in that, and still do. But it's not about that. It's not about a ritual of practice that is the only way that you can reach the relationship with God. That some people think you have to go to a church, or you have to pray, or you have to tithe, or you have to do things, a certain way, or if you break any of these commandments, somehow you're not able to be religious. And I really want to work on dispelling a lot of that, because spirituality is about embracing that part of us that is spiritual, that connects us to this earth and to each other and to this higher entity that I call God, but you can call it whatever, nature, oneness of mankind. It's almost like if you've ever seen the movie Avatar, sort of how the willow tree is portrayed. I see very much God in that sense. He's a principle that binds and unifies and works within and without all of us. So he's sort of here, and the whole goal is to align yourself, with this amazing power, um, in a way that makes sense for you, in a way that's believable and utilizable, and helps you to reconnect with the things in your life that are leading you to feel disconnected and unfulfilled and unsatisfied. Um, so this is where I'm going to focus focus everything with on this series. Today was just a way to introduce myself. I certainly hope that you stay tuned. Again, I'm going to be calling myself the spiritual shrink. So this is exactly how you're going to find me. When you Google this, we're going to talk about many principles, and my overarching goal is to help people feel enlightened, empowered, fulfilled, satisfied. Um, One quote that I absolutely love. I was in Manhattan, and it was Easter a couple years ago, and I was walking by this church, and it said, and it didn't say who the quote came from, but it said, "Man's greatest fear is not in that he has no power, but in that he has all the power." And something about that it rang true, and it felt very right, because it is true. We at sometimes feel relieved by the fact that we don't feel we can do anything given circumstances. Well, this is just going to happen. This is my boss. This is my wife. This is my husband. This is my kids. This is just God's will. I can't do anything about this. I'm just powerless in these circumstances. Um, and I can say honestly that most of the time this is not the case, if not all of the time. I think that when you are in a spiritually strong place and you see the world with a different perspective of how much power you actually have, you will actually begin to change the circumstances in your life in a way that you can't even begin to imagine. You will start seeing changes in yourself and in your relationships and in your circumstances, financially, work-wise, health-wise, friendship-wise, romance-wise. Everything that you ever think about, everything that you ever dream about starts to appear in your life in a way that you do realize you do have tremendous power. There are those of us that have luckily come across this in a very serendipitous, fortuitous, blessed, way. There are some of us that have sought this out on our own and come across this sort of the nine gates of enlightenment, the levels of enlightenment. Others have it bestowed upon us by some happen chance. And what I'm trying to do with this is to give real utilizable principles to people that right at home they can begin to do, books to read, sites to go to, affirmations to say, ways to think about things that open them in a new and unique and different way. So with this being said, I'm going to begin my series. Today was an introduction, and again, my name is Christine Nungayan. I am the Spiritual Shrink, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you. Peace.